So now I've got these all set. There's a couple things I want to do to this model before I send it to print. So right now I've got all this material over here and all this material down here. It's a lot of wasted material. So what I want to do is I do want to remove a lot of this material here. So I'm going to create a little curve here and create a little curve here. So to do that, what I'm going to use is I'm going to again start a new sketch. So I'm going to select this back face. So I'll click on that. I'm just going to zoom in a tiny bit. So for this, I'm just going to use the circle tool, and I'm going to go on the point right here. I'm going to draw a circle to this top corner right here and click. So with the circle tool still selected, I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag this one right over to there and click. Alright, so now that I've got these two circles, I'm actually going to be removing this material. So we're going to be doing the extrusion a little bit differently. So we'll go ahead, we'll click Finish Sketch. Alright, I'm going to rotate it just a little bit just to make it look a little bit on an angle, so we have a little bit of a different view. So I'm going to click Extrude. Alright, I'm going to select the two faces that I want to extrude. Now you can see it's adding it on top. So what I want to do is click this here, direction 2. So that's going to reverse the direction. Alright, and you could see it changed it from join to cut. So if I were to click on join, it would basically join these two surfaces here. If I click on cut, it's actually removing. So I just want to make sure I have cut selected there. The distance 0.1 is fine because remember the thickness of this back plate is 0.04. So anything that's 0.04 or greater will remove that material. So 0.1 is fine because it's thicker than 0.04. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. So now you can see it's removed that material. Alright, so now I've got this. There's just a couple other things I want to do. A lot of these corners tend to be a little bit sharp, so I just want to round over some of these corners. I'm going to round over this edge here. I'm going to round over this bottom edge. I'm going to round over this outside edge here. So to do that, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the fillet tool. Now I'm not in a sketch, so I'm going to be actually manipulating this model. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select the fillet tool. Alright, this dialog box comes up. I'm just moving it over here so it's out of the way. The radius that I want to select is going to be 0.08. Alright, and there's just a couple areas I want to select. I want to select this bottom corner here. I want to select this outside edge. I want to select this outside edge. And I want to select this edge here. Alright, now there's two other edges that I want to select. Alright, and what's neat about this is that I can actually select images that are through the model. So you can see I can actually pick this line right here that's behind the model. So I'm going to pick that one, and you can see that did that fillet going the opposite way. I'll see if I can rotate it just a little bit. So now you can see how it did that, how it rotated that. And then I'm going to pick this one right in here. It's a little bit tough to pick. Alright, and you can see how it did that round over right there. Alright, so now I've got all of those. Those are all the 0.8 radiuses that I wanted to round over. I'll pick this one right here as well. This little one, just to round it over, just so it's not sharp. Now, there is one other round over that I want to make, and that's going to be this one here. This edge right here. I do want to have this round. but I don't want to do it at 0.8. I actually want to do it at a larger round over. So I'm going to go ahead and click this here where it says click to add. So now I can add a different radius to a different line. So I'm going to click on this little corner right here. I'm going to zoom in. This corner right here. So you can see that did it at 0.8. Now what's neat is if I click and drag, if I click, I can move and adjust this radius. So I want to make this radius here, where I selected the one image, I want to make that 0.625. Alright, so now you can see I got a nice radius on that. Alright, so I've done all of my roundovers that I want. Alright, just soften some of the edges so they're not super sharp. Alright, so now I can go ahead and I can click apply or OK. Alright, so I clicked apply, the window stayed up, so that's if I wanted to continue to select more I could. So I'm just going to go ahead and click cancel because I did all of the radiuses that I wanted to round over. So here is here's my model. Now there's one other thing I want to do. So I want to rotate this model so I can see the back. Alright, so I want to rotate it so I can see the back. Because what we're going to do is we're going to be attaching, screwing this to the back of the plate, of the nameplate. And we're going to do that by running screws through the nameplate and into this back. So now I'm going to go over how we're going to do that. Alright, so now we're going to add those 2 screw holes. So to do that, just like all the other additions that we made, we're going to use start with a sketch. We're going to select this back face. Alright, so you can see here we're going to select the back face. Select that. Alright, so I'm going to add I want to add a circle right on the center of this arc and right on the center of this arc. So I'm going to use the circle tool, select that, alright, and hover over this outside radius. Now you can see I have that center point. Alright, so I'm going to alright, so I'm going to click on that center point. I'm going to start to drag this out. Okay, so I'm going to select the center of this arc here, click, drag that out, and the dimension I want is 0.12. Click enter. Alright, so now I'm going to do the same thing down here. I still have the circle tool selected. Alright, 0.12, enter. Alright, so now that's all I need to do for these 2 circles. Click finish sketch. Alright, again, extrude. Alright, I'm going to zoom in. I want to select these 2, and if you look, they're coming out, so I want to reverse direction. Alright, and you can see it went to cut, and I want to change that distance to 0.5. Alright, so that's going to make that nice hole in there for us to thread that bolt in. Alright, so now I've got the that there. Alright, I can go ahead and click OK. Now the last thing I want to do is I just want to make this a little bit easier to get the screw in there. So I'm going to use this chamfer tool. Alright, so I'm going to select the chamfer tool. I want to select these 2 circles that I just made, and I want to make this 0.08. Alright, actually let's do 0.04. Alright, it'll just add that little bit of an angle, just make it a little bit easier to attach this. So I can go ahead, click OK once I've added that. All right, and now my part is all set. All right, so now that I've got my part all set, all right, I just want to double check everything, make sure everything looks good. So next we're going to go over how to save this as a file that can be 3D printed. But right now what you're going to do is you want to save this and you're going to want to upload this to Google Classroom so that I can see and double check all the measurements and in case you have to make any changes, and then we can do that. So as far as saving, just like every other program, you could save under File, go to Save As, select that. All right, go to your, click on the drop down, go to your H drive. All right, I named it last name, battery and switch. All right, and I'll put the period P0 for the period. Go ahead and click on Save. Okay, so now that is all set and ready. Again, upload this to Google Classroom, and the next video we're going to go over how to save this to have it ready to be printed. All right, so